Another edition of the AI Edge. Advisor AI. It's all about helping advisors learn about new AI tools out there and how we can implement them in our business today. Today, we're taking a look at NotebookLM, which is a Google product. And I think that this provides extreme opportunity for advisors for internal efficiencies, but also opportunities for client experience and client interaction. So let's take a look inside of NotebookLM. So NotebookLM has all these opportunities or abilities around creating notebooks. And I see notebooks as an opportunity to create specific notebooks for specific needs. And for families or clients, I think that creating notebooks for clients is the opportunity. So the cool thing about NotebookLM is that we create the data source for this AI research agent. So we can upload any types of data, Google Docs, Google Slides, website, YouTube's, copy text, we can put in PDFs, etc. So what I'm doing is I'm going to show you some of the documents that we're going to put in. We're going to put in a client statement. So this is a sample portfolio of a client statement here, and you can see that we have it going through. This is what's come from portfolio reporting system like Black Diamond. We're also going to put in some PowerPoint presentations that were generated by our investment committee. So this has words, it has charts, it has graphs, it has everything going forward. I'm going to put 313 in there. This is a newsletter. It's a little bit of a different form that we can use. And then another PowerPoint presentation, but this one has a little bit more of the chart functionality in there as well. And then finally is I'm going to use a transcript file that I created when having a meeting with a client. I've taken out all PI information, and I'm going to upload the transcript as well. So let's go back to NotebookLM, and let's now upload all of these files. So here's the sample statement, and then we're going to add in another source, and that file is going to be the December investment committee note, and then we're going to add another source. We're going to add the October, add another source, the November, and then finally, we are going to add the transcript in as well. So we have 5 documents in there. It's uploading. Now, let's navigate around NotebookLM. That's where we add our source data. Then we have the ability to chat with the agent, which we will do here as well. And then we have the ability to create a podcast and make some notes. So we're going to start generating a podcast as well. We're going to customize this, and we're going to type in that this is a recap podcast for my wealth management client. I want to provide them insights from our meeting and how our investment committee is viewing the world. So I'm going to give it that insight, and we're going to generate that. We're going to let that generate in the background. We can also generate these other types of notes or artifacts. So we can generate a study guide. We'll go through all these, an FAQ, a briefing doc, and a timeline. So all of those are being generated. And then we can come in here and we can just type and chat with the agent. So maybe we can say, what is the firm's view on increasing interest rates? We can see what it says there. It's going to go generate. The beauty of NotebookLM is that it's only using the source data here. And the other idea is that it sources all of the data where it responds with. So it tells you where it's coming from as well. So what is the firm's current situation? The Fed has left target interest rates unchanged. This is considered extremely dovish. Inflation has eased and the economy has slowed. Future expectations, the dot plot projects 3 rate cuts by the end of 2024. And then the impact. The firm believes the Fed will likely continue to hold the line. You can see a little bit of here as well. And then I can say, what does interest rates rising mean to the client's portfolio? And we can now talk about what we're talking about within the meeting. So we can see what's generated there as well within the meet. So increased attractiveness of fixed income alternatives towards income generating assets, focus on closed-end firms, closed-end funds. This is something specific to our firm, and it picks it up. The firm invests in closed-end funds partly because they support higher yields. You can see impact on specific holdings. In the transcript, we did talk about Annaly Capital, which is a holding inside of the sample portfolio. We did talk about the yield Intel being listed as NA. We talked about that. So you can see all of that there. That allows you to now chat with all of your notes. But now come over here and we can see some of these different notes that were created. So this one here is a briefing document. This gives an executive summary. It gives some of the themes of all of the information. So from the investment committee notes, right, the jobs report, CPI report, Fed meeting, everything of that nature, market observations, talks about spreads, firm-wide updates, and then key takeaways from the client meeting notes, portfolio review, strategy discussions, cash management. We talked about some of their work they did. We talked about Intel. We talked about strategy with the Roth, etc. We have some quotes as well. And then we have some next steps and considerations also. So this is something that I see could be used as a follow-up to a client. Now, this is a timeline of all the events that happen within all of these documents. This is really helpful if you are looking over a longer period. I think that you can create one of these notebooks for families forever, and you can continue to see the timeline as well. It includes some things that happen within the investment committee as well. And then it has like these characters. Everybody that was talked about on the call is put up in here, and also the people that were talked about within the notes as well. And you can see them right there. And then if we go back, we can see this is a quiz. Now, I think that this is a super interesting way of communicating with families because this has a lot of different questions that you would ask based on the data. And these are likely questions that families would ask. And so you can now have this quiz, and then you can hand this off to a junior advisor or whatever, and you have the quiz answers that are being pulled from the notes. So this is also can be used as a training tool for junior advisors as well. And then finally is this idea of FAQs. Again, here are some FAQs about what are the key takeaways from the recent jobs report, how does the Fed, what is a closed-end fund, and why does the firm use them? Again, these are all questions that families would ask. And now you can have other people communicate with families and have a common language. The final thing we're going to look at is the podcast. So this podcast, we just gave it the information over here, the source data, and then we gave it the a little bit of a detail. This is going to clients as a follow-up, and now this was generated while we were going through it. So let's play a little bit of it.
Hey there, welcome back. We're diving deep today, just for you, into some of the really important stuff we've been talking about.
Yeah, pulling back the curtain on some of those big investment committee meetings we have where we're really hashing out our view of the markets.
Exactly. And the goal here is to connect those discussions, our overall outlook, with the specifics we talked about in our meeting together back on January 3rd.
All right, let's now fast forward a little bit to further in the conversation of the podcast.
To us.
Right. Now, our municipal CEF holdings, those are still looking good. Solid discounts, strong credit quality.
Yeah, no complaints there. Although we did talk about how, for investors in lower tax brackets or those who don't need super long dated.
That entire podcast, a 12-minute podcast, is specific to the individual. It ties what we're talking about. So as they said, behind the curtains. And that is a way that we then can share this audio overview with our families. And we can share this as an ability for them to have access to this podcast. So you can see here, this will load up the podcast and they can play it, so we can send it to them and they now have it. So NotebookLM is a super efficient tool. Not only can it help with us serving families like I showed here, but it can help us better serve our whole firm to have consistent terminology and have consistent ability to answer questions or common questions from our clients, creating scale and capacity and consistency. So there's another AI tool for you, NotebookLM.